The year was 2157. Humans had finally made it to Mars and built small cities there. They also had a research station on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. It was not much, but it was progress. Most people still lived on Earth, but everyone was excited. About space travel. Commander Elena Vasquez was having her morning coffee when the alarm went off. She was on the space station Olympus, which watched for dangerous asteroids near Earth. The computer screen started flashing red. "What is it?" she asked her team. "Something big is moving in the asteroid belt," said Lieutenant Torres. He looked worried. "It's not an asteroid. The readings are strange." Elena walked over to look at the data. She had seen many space rocks before, but this was different. The object was huge, over 2 kilometers long. It was shaped like a ship, but unlike any ship humans had ever built. "It's giving off energy," said Dr. Kim, the science officer. "But it's not moving under its own power. It's just drifting." Elena stared at the screen. After all these years of looking for signs of alien life, something had finally appeared. "Get me a line to Earth Command. We need to report this right away." Within hours, the news spread across Earth. Humans had found their first alien ship. Some people were excited, others were scared. The government leaders met in emergency sessions to decide what to do. Admiral Rodriguez called Elena directly. "Commander, I'm putting you in charge of the first mission to that ship. Take the Endeavor and a full science team. But be careful, we don't know if it's safe." Elena felt her heart beat faster. This was the biggest moment in human history, and she was going to lead it. "Yes, sir. We'll be ready to leave in 12 hours. The journey to the asteroid belt took 3 weeks. During that time, Elena's team studied every piece of data they could get about the alien ship. It was made of materials they had never seen before. The energy readings changed in patterns that seemed almost like a heartbeat. "Do you think there are aliens still alive on that ship?" asked Dr. Sarah Chun, the team's expert on technology. "I don't know," Elena said. "We'll find out soon enough." When they finally got close to the alien ship, everyone on the Endeavor stopped talking. The ship was beautiful in a way that made no sense. It was dark gray with patterns that seemed to flow like water. Parts of it looked smooth, while other parts had strange angles that hurt to look at. "I'm not picking up any life signs," said the ship's doctor. "But there's definitely power running through that thing." Elena made the decision. "We're going aboard. Dr. Chun, Torres, and Williams, you're with me. Everyone else stays here and keeps watch." They put on their spacesuits and took a small shuttle over to the alien ship. Finding a way inside was easier than they expected. There was an opening that seemed to recognize their shuttle and opened up like a flower. Inside, the ship was even more strange. The walls glowed with soft light that came from nowhere. The air was breathable, which surprised everyone. The corridors were wide and curved in ways that made Elena feel dizzy. "This place is huge," Torres whispered. "How many aliens lived here?" They walked for what felt like hours, finding room after room. But there were no aliens. No bodies, no signs of a fight. Nothing that showed what happened to the crew. It was like everyone had just disappeared. Dr. Chun was using her equipment to scan everything. "The technology here is incredible," she said. "These walls aren't just metal. They're alive somehow. They're repairing themselves as we watch." In the center of the ship, they found something that looked like a control room. But instead of buttons and screens, there were smooth surfaces that glowed when they touched them. In the middle was a crystal that pulsed with blue light. "I think this is their computer," Dr. Chun said. She pulled out her tablet and tried to connect it to the alien system. Suddenly, the crystal glowed brighter. Numbers and symbols appeared in the air above it. Elena jumped back, but Dr. Chun stayed calm. "It's trying to talk to us," she said. "These are mathematical symbols. Basic math that any intelligent species would understand." The symbols changed, showing simple equations at first, then more complex ones. Finally, pictures started appearing. They showed star maps with 12 points marked on them. Each point was far away in different parts of the galaxy. "There are 11 more ships like this one," Dr. Chun said, her voice full of wonder. "It's showing us where they are." More pictures appeared. They showed the ship they were on, but it was building things. Small ships flew out of it like insects from a hive. The pictures showed the ship growing bigger, changing shape, creating new sections. Then came the message that would change everything. Simple words appeared in the air, translated into basic human language. "Use wisely. Time is short. They are coming." Elena felt a chill run down her back. "They, who are they?" The alien computer showed one more picture. It was space, but space? That was wrong somehow. Stars were going out. Planets were disappearing. Something dark was moving between the stars, eating everything in its path. "We need to get back to Earth," Elena said, "right now." But Dr. Chun was still studying the alien technology. "Elena, look at this. This ship isn't just a ship, it's a factory. It can build things we can't even imagine. And if there are 11 more ships like this, double quotes Elena understood. The aliens hadn't just left them a ship. They had left them the tools to build an entire fleet. But they had also left them a warning about something terrible coming. As they prepared to leave the alien ship, Dr. Chun made one more discovery. She found a room full of machines that were already starting to work. They were building something, following instructions that had been waiting for millions of years. "The ship is waking up," she said. "It's been waiting for someone to find it. Waiting for us." Elena looked around the alien ship one last time. When they had arrived, they thought they were exploring something dead. Now she realized they had found something that was just sleeping. And now that it was awake, everything was going to change. The trip back to Earth felt much shorter. Elena spent the time writing her report, trying to explain what they had found. But how could you explain that aliens had left humans the greatest gift in history? And how could you explain that the gift came with a terrible warning? When they reached Earth, the world was waiting for answers. Elena stood before the leaders of every nation and told them the truth. Humans had found alien technology that could build ships beyond their dreams. But somewhere in the darkness of space, something was coming. Something that had scared the aliens so much that they had run away and left their ships behind. "How long do we have?" asked the president of Earth. Elena looked at the alien star maps Dr. Chun had decoded. "We don't know. But the aliens left us these ships for a reason. They wanted us to be ready." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Admiral Rodriguez stood up. "Then we better get started. If we're going to build a fleet, we need to start now." Elena nodded. The alien ship was waiting in the asteroid belt, ready to teach humans how to build wonders they had never dreamed of. But time was running out, and somewhere in the dark, something hungry was moving toward Earth. 3 months had passed since Commander Elena Vasquez first stepped onto the alien ship. Now Dr. Sarah Chun lived there more than she lived on Earth. The ship had become her whole world. Every day brought new discoveries. The alien technology was like nothing humans had ever seen. The walls could fix themselves when they got damaged. The lights never went out because they pulled energy from empty space itself. Most amazing of all, the ship could make things. "Look at this," Dr. Chun said to her assistant, Dr. Park. She touched a smooth panel on the wall, and it started to glow. "I think this is how they built everything." The panel showed pictures of machines that could create anything. Raw materials went in one end and finished products came out the other. But these weren't ordinary machines. These could build other machines, which could build more machines. Dr. Chun had been trying to talk to the alien computer for weeks, she called it. The architect, because it seemed to design and build everything on the ship. The architect spoke in mathematics and pictures, but it was getting better at using human words. "Architect," she said to the blue crystal in the control room, "can you show me how the building machines work?" The crystal pulsed, and new images appeared in the air. They showed the inside of the ship, places that Dr. Chun had never seen before. There were huge rooms full of machines that had been sleeping for millions of years. "The fabrication bay," the architect said. Its voice came from speakers all around the room, but it still sounded strange, like music played backward. "You wish to activate?" Dr. Chun felt her heart start beating faster. Is it safe? Safe for your species, yes. Your biology is compatible, your minds are suitable. Dr. Chun didn't know what that meant, but she had come too far to stop now. Yes, show me how to activate it. The architect guided her through the ship to a room the size of a football stadium. The walls were covered with machines that looked like silver spiders. In the center was a platform that glowed with the same blue light as the architect. Place raw materials here, the architect explained. Think of what you wish to create. The machines will build. Dr. Chen had brought a piece of iron and some other metals from Earth. She put them on the platform and thought about a simple tool. A wrench. The machines came alive instantly. The spider-like devices moved so fast they were just blurs of silver light. In less than a minute, a perfect wrench sat on the platform. But it wasn't just any wrench. When Dr. Chun picked it up, it felt warm and seemed to adjust to fit her hand perfectly. The metal was stronger than anything humans could make, but it was also lighter. Incredible, she whispered. This is basic function, the architect said. Observe advanced capabilities. The machines activated again, but this time they didn't wait for Dr. Chun to put materials on the platform. They reached out with thin arms and pulled metal from the walls of the ship itself. The wall healed immediately as if nothing had been. Taken, what they built next made Dr. Chun step backward in amazement. It was a small robot about the size of a cat. But as soon as it was finished, it started moving. It looked at Dr. Chun with glowing eyes and made a sound like a bird singing. You built a living machine, she said. Not living, the architect corrected. Intelligent, it will learn. It will grow. It will build other machines like itself if you command it. Dr. Chun realized what this meant. The alien ship wasn't just a factory. It was a factory that could build factories. And those factories could build more factories. There was no limit to how much they could create. Architect, I need to ask you something important. The warning you showed us about something coming. What is it? The images that appeared in the air made Dr. Chun feel cold. They showed space, but space that was wrong. Stars were going dark one by one. Planets were being torn apart. And moving through it all was something that looked like a storm made of metal and darkness. The convergence, the architect said. They consume everything. They turned our creators into fuel for their expansion. We escaped, but barely. Your creators, the aliens who built this ship, where are they now? Gone, fled to places between. Galaxies left these ships for younger species. For species like yours, Dr. Chun understood now. The aliens, the Veilter, the architect called them, had faced something so terrible that they had run away from their entire galaxy. And they had left their technology behind for other species to find and use. How long do we have? She asked. Unknown. The convergence moves slowly but never stops. They consumed the Andromeda Galaxy 50,000 years ago. They will reach this galaxy eventually? Dr. Chun left the fabrication bay with her mind racing. She called Commander Vasquez immediately. Elena, you need to see this. The ship can build anything. I mean anything. And it can build machines that build other machines. Within a week, Elena was back on the alien ship with a team of engineers and scientists. What Dr. Chun showed them changed everything. The fabrication bay was now full of activity. The small robot that the architect had built was now surrounded by a dozen others just like it. They had been building more machines non-stop. For days, they're building a construction facility, Dr. Chun explained. The architect showed me the plans. They're going to turn the asteroid belt around this ship into a shipyard. Elena watched the robots work with speed and precision that no human could match. How big of a shipyard? Big enough to build 1,000 ships at once, maybe more. Elena felt a mix of excitement and fear. And these ships, they'll be like this one? Better, the architect interrupted. Your species thinks differently than creators. Your minds are more flexible. You will build ships that adapt, that change, that surprise enemies. Over the next month, Elena watched something that seemed impossible happen. The robots from the alien ship spread out into the asteroid belt and started building. They took apart asteroids and used the materials to create massive construction platforms. Each platform could build ships. But not just any ships that combined human ideas with alien technology. The first ship they completed was designed by human engineers but built with alien materials and systems. It could repair itself, change its shape for different missions. And most importantly, it had its own fabrication bay. One ship that can build more ships, Elena said as she watched it being finished. Which can build more ships. Dr. Chun nodded. The growth will be exponential. 2 ships become 4, 4 become 8. 8 become 16. And the convergence? The architect answered before Dr. Chun could speak. They will come. But your species is different from creators. Creators tried to hide. You prepare to fight. Elena looked out at the growing shipyard in the asteroid belt. In just 1 month, they had built 12 ships. By the end of the year, they would have hundreds. In 2 years, thousands. But would it be enough? The images the architect had shown them suggested that the convergence had millions of ships, maybe billions. They had consumed entire galaxies. Architect, Elena said. You said there are 11 other ships like this one scattered across the galaxy. Correct. Your species must claim them before convergence arrives. More ships mean more construction capability. More construction capability means larger fleet. Elena made a decision that would change the course of human history. Dr. Chun, I want you to stay here and work with the architect. Learn everything you can about this technology. I'm going back to Earth to convince the government to launch missions to find those other ships. What if they say no? Dr. Chun asked. Elena looked at the alien shipyard that was growing bigger every day. Then we build the fleet anyway. Because the convergence is coming whether Earth is ready or not. As Elena prepared to leave the alien ship, the architect gave her one final piece of information. Commander Vasquez. The creators left instructions in each ship. Instructions for building weapons that can stop convergence. But weapons require great sacrifice. Your species must be united to succeed, Elena understood. The aliens had given humans the tools to build an incredible fleet. But building ships was only the first step. To truly defeat the convergence, humanity would have to come together like never before. The war for the galaxy was about to begin, and it would start with 12 alien ships and the species crazy enough to use them. 5 years had passed since the discovery of the first alien ship. The world had changed completely. Captain Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of the TES Prometheus, watching construction drones work outside his window. The ship was one of the first. Human designs built with alien technology, and Marcus was proud to command it. But what he saw outside made him realize how small his ship really was. The asteroid belt around the original alien ship had become a massive industrial complex. Hundreds of construction platforms worked day and night, building ships of every size. Some were as small as fighters. Others were larger than cities. All of them used the incredible alien technology that could repair itself, change shape, and build more ships. Captain, said Lieutenant Kim from the communications station, Admiral Vasquez is requesting a status report on the new fleet numbers. Marcus looked at his datapad. The numbers still amazed him. Tell the Admiral we now have 847 active ships. Another 200 will be finished. This month? It was hard to believe. When Marcus had joined the Space Navy 10 years ago, humans had maybe 20 ships total. Now they had almost 1,000, and the number was growing every day. The growth had started slowly. The first alien ship, which everyone now called Genesis, had built 12 ships in its first year. Those 12 ships each had their own fabrication bays and started building more ships. Soon there were hundreds of construction platforms spread throughout the solar system. Dr. Sarah Chun had spent those 5 years learning from the architect. She had become the most important person in the human fleet, the one who understood alien technology better than anyone else. She had taught the fabrication systems to build ships that were part human design, part alien engineering. Sir, Lieutenant Kim said again. There's also a message from Dr. Chun. The exploration team found another one. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. Another ship? Yes, sir, the fourth one. They found it in the Vega system, Marcus smiled. This was the best news he had heard in months. Finding the other alien ships had become humanity's most important mission. Each ship they found doubled their construction ability. The first additional ship had been found in the Alpha Centauri system. Just 4 light-years from Earth, it was exactly like Genesis, 2 kilometers long, full of incredible technology, and completely empty of alien life. When human teams activated it, it immediately started building a shipyard just like the one in Earth's asteroid belt. The second ship was discovered near Volf 359, and the third near Barnard's star. Each discovery made the human fleet grow faster. Now, with the fourth ship found near Vega, they would have even more construction power, but Marcus knew they needed to find them faster. The architect had warned that the convergence was getting closer. Every year, more distant signals went quiet. Stars that should have been visible were going dark. Something was moving through the galaxy, consuming everything in its path. Set course for the Vega system, Marcus ordered. We need to secure that ship before anything else finds it. The trip to Vega took 3 weeks, even with the improved engines that combined human and alien technology. When the Prometheus arrived, Marcus was amazed by what he saw. The alien ship was already awake and building. Construction drones were spreading out from it, collecting materials from nearby asteroids. Dr. Chun was already there with her research team. She had taken the first transport to Vega as soon as the discovery was confirmed. Marcus found her in the alien ship's control room, talking to the blue crystal that housed the architect. Any problems activating this one? Marcus asked. Dr. Chun shook her head. None at all. These ships were designed to wake up when they detected intelligence. Nearby, this architect says the same thing as all the others. The convergence is coming, and we need to be ready. Marcus looked at the star maps floating above the crystal. They showed the locations of all 12 alien ships. 4 had been found and claimed by humans. 8 were still waiting. How many ships can we build if we get all 12? He asked. The architect answered in its strange, musical voice. With all 12 construction sites and full resource access, your species could build 1 million ships within 10 years. 1 million ships? Marcus could barely imagine such a fleet. But the architect had also shown them images of the convergence. The enemy had billions of ships, maybe trillions. Even 1 million might not be enough. There's something else, Dr. Chun said. The architect has been teaching me about weapons. Real weapons, things that can destroy entire fleets at once. She activated a new display. It showed ship designs unlike anything Marcus had seen before. Some looked like they were made of pure energy. Others seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. These are the weapons the Veilter created to fight the convergence, Dr. Chun explained. But they require massive amounts of resources to build. And they need all 12 ships working together. Marcus understood. The race wasn't just about building lots of regular ships. They needed to find all 12 alien ships and use them to build weapons that could actually hurt the convergence. Over the next 2 years, the search for the remaining alien ships became humanity's obsession. Admiral Vasquez, now in charge of the entire Terran expansion fleet, sent exploration teams to every system the architect had marked on the maps. Marcus commanded the mission that found the 5th ship in the Tau Ceti system. Like all the others, it was waiting patiently for someone to find it. But when they activated this one, the architect gave them disturbing news. Convergence scouts have been detected in outer systems, it announced. They probe galaxy edges, testing defenses. Full invasion force will arrive within 50 years. 50 years. It sounded like a long time, but Marcus knew it wasn't enough. Even with 5 alien ships working at full capacity, the human fleet only had about 5,000 ships. They were growing fast, but not fast enough. The 6th ship was found near Proxima Centauri. The 7th was discovered in the Ross 128 system. Each new ship made the human fleet grow exponentially. By the time they found the 8th ship, Humanity had over 20,000 vessels, but finding the last 4 ships proved much harder. They were located in distant systems, far from Earth. 2 were found in systems that required months of travel to reach. The exploration teams faced dangers from radiation storms, asteroid fields, and equipment failures. Captain Maria Santos led the team that found the 9th ship. She nearly died when her ship's life support failed on the way back. But she brought back the location data, and within months, another alien shipyard was operational. The 10th ship was found by Marcus himself. It was hidden in a nebula that made sensors useless. His team had to search for weeks, flying blind through clouds of gas and dust. But when they finally found it, Marcus felt like they were finally getting close to their goal. Dr. Chun had spent the 7 years since first contact becoming more alien herself. She spent so much time talking to the architects that she sometimes forgot to speak in human language. But her knowledge had become essential to the fleet. "Marcus," she said when he returned from finding the 10th ship, "the architects have shown me something new. When we get all 12 ships, they don't just build weapons. They combine into something bigger." "What do you mean?" "The 12 ships can connect together. They become one massive construction facility. Something that can build ships the size of moons. Ships that can destroy stars if necessary." Marcus felt a chill run down his back. The power that the aliens had left for humanity was almost too much to understand. But he also knew they would need every bit of that power when the convergence arrived. The 11th ship was the hardest to find. It was located in a system so far away that it took 6 months to reach it. The exploration team led by Commander Torres faced equipment failures, food shortages, and attacks by space pirates who wanted to claim the alien technology for themselves, but they succeeded. When the 11th ship was activated, the combined human fleet had grown to over 100,000 ships. They controlled shipyards in 12 different star systems. Construction drones worked constantly, building new vessels of designs that combined human creativity with alien engineering. Now only 1 ship remained. The 12th and final alien vessel was located in the most distant system of all, near the edge of the galaxy. Finding it would require the longest journey humans had ever attempted, but Marcus knew they had no choice. The architects had made it clear that all 12 ships were needed to build the weapons that could stop the convergence. Without the final ship, everything they had built might not be enough. As he prepared for the final mission, Marcus looked out at the massive fleet that humanity had constructed. Ships filled the space around Earth like a metal forest. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Soon, they would need to use them. The warning came from the edge of human space on a cold Tuesday morning. Commander Lisa Park was monitoring the deep space sensors when every alarm on her station started screaming at once. "Admiral Vasquez to the command center immediately." She called over the intercom. Her voice was shaking. Elena Vasquez had been admiral of the Terran expansion fleet for 8 years now. She had overseen the growth of humanity's forces from a few dozen ships to over 200,000. But nothing had prepared her for what she saw on the sensor displays. "New Geneva colony has gone silent," Commander Park reported. "All communication stopped exactly 47 minutes ago." Elena felt her blood turn cold. New Geneva was humanity's farthest colony in the Tau Ceti system. It was home to 3 million people and protected by a garrison of 50 ships. "Could be equipment failure," suggested Captain Webb, who had been promoted to Elena's staff after finding so many alien ships. "No, sir," Park said. "Look at this." The main screen showed telescope images from the Tau Ceti system. Where New Geneva's star should have been burning bright, there was only a dim, sickly glow. The planets that should have been visible were gone. "The star is dying," Park whispered. "Something is draining it." Elena knew what this meant. After years of preparation and warnings from the architects, the convergence had finally arrived. "Send the alert to all fleets," Elena ordered. "Priority Alpha. This is not a drill." Within hours, exploration ships throughout human space began reporting the same thing. Systems on the outer edge of human territory were going dark one by one. The enemy was here. Captain Marcus Webb commanded the TES Defiance when he got the order to investigate. His ship was one of the newest designs, built with 8 years of combined human and alien technology. It could repair itself, change its shape for different missions, and carried weapons that could destroy a city-sized asteroid. Take us to the Kepler 442 system, Marcus ordered. Best speed. The journey took 2 days. When they arrived, Marcus understood why the aliens had run away from the convergence. The Kepler 442 system had once contained 4 planets and a beautiful yellow star. Now there was only destruction. The star had been reduced to a dim ember. The planets were gone, replaced by massive geometric structures that looked like metal cities floating in space. "Captain," said Lieutenant Torres at the sensor station, "I'm reading thousands of ships. Maybe tens of thousands." Marcus looked at the tactical display and felt sick. The enemy vessels filled space like a swarm of insects. They were all the same basic design, long, angular ships that looked like metal spears. But there were so many of them that they blocked out the starlight. "Are they moving toward us?" Marcus asked. "No, sir. They reading. They're taking apart the remaining asteroids and feeding them into those structures." Marcus watched in horror as the enemy ships worked with mechanical precision. They weren't just destroying things. They were converting everything into more ships and more structures. The convergence was a machine that turned entire star systems into tools for its own expansion. "Send a message to Admiral Vasquez," Marcus said. "Tell her we found them. And tell her we're going to need a lot more ships." But before his communications officer could send the message, the enemy noticed them. Dozens of the spear-shaped ships turned toward the Defiance and began moving at incredible speed. "Evasive maneuvers," Marcus shouted. "All weapons, fire at will." The battle that followed taught humanity their first brutal lesson about the convergence. The enemy ships were fast, well-armed, and completely fearless. They attacked in perfect coordination. Like parts of a single machine, the Defiance's alien-enhanced weapons destroyed 3 enemy ships in the first exchange. But for every ship they destroyed, 2 more appeared to take its place. The enemy seemed to have an endless supply of vessels. "Captain, we're taking heavy damage," reported the engineering officer. "The self-repair systems can't keep up." Marcus made a hard decision. "Retreat. Get us out of here." The Defiance limped back to human space with half its hull destroyed and most of its crew injured. But Marcus had learned something important. The enemy ships followed predictable patterns. They were efficient but not creative. Each ship did exactly what it was programmed to do, nothing more. When Marcus reported to Admiral Vasquez, she was already planning humanity's response. "How many ships did you count in that system?" she asked. "At least 50,000, maybe more. And they were still building." Elena looked at the tactical displays showing human fleet positions. They had ships scattered across dozens of systems, protecting colonies and shipyards. But even combined, they only had about 200,000 vessels. "We need to pull back," she decided. "Concentrate our forces around Earth and our main shipyards. If we spread out, they'll destroy us piece by piece." Dr. Sarah Chun had been working frantically with the architects since the first reports came in. She had barely slept in 3 days, trying to find ways to use alien technology against the convergence. "Elena," she said when the Admiral visited the main research facility, "the architects have been showing me weapon designs, things that can destroy entire enemy fleets at once. But we need the 12th ship to build them." "Where is it?" Elena asked. "The edge of the galaxy, a system called Epsilon Erdanici. It's 8 months away, even with our fastest ships." Elena felt despair creeping into her mind. "We don't have 8 months. The enemy will be at Earth in weeks." Dr. Chen activated a display showing the convergence's movement pattern. "Actually, we might have more time than we think. They're not heading straight for Earth. They're consuming every system they find, converting everything into more ships. That's slowing them down." "How long?" "Maybe 6 months if we're lucky. But Elena, there's something else. The architects say we don't have to wait for the 12th ship to start fighting back. We can use what we have now, but we need to change our strategy. Dr. Chung showed Elena new ship designs that the architects had been developing. They weren't just weapons, they were factories that could build new ships during battle. Mobile. Shipyards that could replace losses faster than the enemy could cause them. The key is not to fight them ship to ship, Dr. Chun explained. We need to outbuild them. Turn this into a construction race instead of a shooting war. Elena understood. Humanity couldn't match the convergence in a traditional battle. But they had something the enemy didn't, the ability to adapt and change tactics in the middle of a fight. The plan that Elena developed was unlike anything in military history. Instead of massing their fleets for a decisive battle, they would spread out their mobile shipyards and play a game of hit and run. Every time the convergence attacked a human position, they would find ships that could rebuild themselves faster than they could be destroyed. The first test came when the convergence reached the Volf 359 system, a human fleet of 5,000. Ships waited for them. Led by Captain Santos on the TES Horizon, the enemy arrived with overwhelming numbers, over 100,000 ships. But when they attacked the human fleet, something unexpected happened. The human ships didn't try to stand and fight. Instead, they scattered and began building mobile construction platforms deployed throughout the system. Within hours, they were producing new ships faster than the enemy could destroy them. For every human ship the enemy killed, 2 new ones rolled off the production lines. The convergence had never faced an enemy that could outproduce them during battle. Their ships were designed for efficient destruction, not for adapting to changing circumstances. They followed their programming and kept attacking, but the human fleet kept growing. After 3 days of fighting, the convergence withdrew from Volf 359. They had destroyed thousands of human ships, but the human fleet was actually larger when the battle ended than when it began. It worked, Captain Santos reported to Admiral Vasquez. They don't know how to fight an enemy that builds ships faster than they can destroy them. But Elena knew. This was just the beginning. The enemy would adapt eventually. They would learn from this defeat and find new ways to attack. Humanity needed to find that 12th ship and unlock the ultimate weapons before the convergence figured out how to counter their construction advantage. As reports came in from other systems, Elena realized they were in a race against time. The convergence was vast and patient, with resources gathered from consuming entire galaxies. Humanity had clever tactics and amazing technology, but they were still just one species fighting against a force that had destroyed thousands of civilizations. The real test was coming. Soon, the convergence would reach the core systems of human space. When that happened, all of humanity's ships and all of their construction ability would be put to the ultimate test. Elena looked out at the hundreds of shipyards working around Earth, building new vessels every hour. They had come so far from that first alien ship found in the asteroid belt. But would it be enough to save the human race? She was about to find out. The message that changed everything came from Captain Torres at the edge of the galaxy. His exploration team had been racing toward the final alien ship for 6 months while the convergence slowly consumed human space behind them. Admiral Vasquez? Torres reported, his voice crackling across the vast distance. We found it. The 12th ship is here, and it's bigger than all the others. Admiral Elena Vasquez felt hope and fear in equal measure. They had found the last piece of the puzzle, but the convergence was only weeks away from Earth itself. How long to activate it and get it operational? She asked. Dr. Qian's team is already working on it. But Admiral, there's something else. This ship is different. The architect here says it's not just a factory, it's a command center. It can control all the other ships at once. Elena understood immediately. The 12 alien ships weren't just meant to work together, they were meant to become one massive construction system controlled from this final ship. Dr. Sarah Chun had spent the journey to the edge of the galaxy preparing for this moment. She had learned more about alien technology than any human alive. When she stepped onto the 12th ship, she knew exactly what to do. This ship's architect was different from the others. larger, more complex, and somehow more alive. When it spoke, its voice filled the entire ship. "Welcome, humans," it said. "You have proven worthy of the Veilter legacy. Are you ready to claim your inheritance?" "What inheritance?" Dr. Chun asked. "The power to reshape matter itself, to build ships from starlight, to turn gas giants into fleets. But the power comes with a price." Dr. Chun activated the connection protocols she had learned from the other ships. But instead of just linking to this one architect, she found herself connected to all 12 ships at once. Her mind filled with impossible knowledge, construction techniques that could build ships the size of moons, weapons that could destroy entire star systems, manufacturing processes that could turn empty space into solid matter. "The price," she whispered, understanding flooding through her. "We have to give up being purely human." "Not give up," the architect corrected. "Evolve. Your species will become something new, something that can stand against the convergence." Back at Earth, Elena watched the convergence approach the solar system. Her scouts reported an enemy fleet beyond imagination, 10 million ships moving in perfect formation, consuming asteroids and space stations as they advanced. The human fleet had grown to 300,000 ships through constant construction during running battles. They had learned to fight and build at the same time, turning every engagement into a race between destruction and creation. But 10 million enemy ships was more than they had ever faced. "Admiral," Captain Webb reported from the front lines, "they're not following their usual pattern. They're moving straight for Earth, no stops to consume resources." Elena felt a chill. The convergence had learned from their defeats. They were no longer going to let humanity outbuild them. This would be a direct assault meant to overwhelm human construction capacity through sheer numbers. "All fleets, fall back to Earth," Elena ordered. "We make our stand here." Dr. Chun worked frantically on the 12th ship as reports came in about the convergence's approach. The ship's architect was teaching her how to connect all 12 ships into a single network, but the process was more complicated than anything she had ever attempted. "Dr. Chun," Captain Torres said urgently, "Admiral Vasquez needs to know if we can get the network online in time." Dr. Chun looked at the incredible machinery around her. The 12th ship was building connection devices that would link it to the other 11 ships across space. But the process would take hours, and Earth was under attack now. "Tell her we're close," Dr. Chun said. "But she needs to buy us time." The battle for Earth began when the convergence reached the asteroid belt. Elena had turned the entire belt into a construction zone, with thousands of shipyards and millions of construction drones working continuously. The enemy attacked with methodical precision. Their ships moved in perfect formations, destroying human shipyards with overwhelming firepower. But Elena had learned from previous battles. For every shipyard the enemy destroyed, her mobile construction platforms built 2 more. Captain Webb commanded the TES Defiance in the thick of the fighting. His ship had been rebuilt and upgraded so many times that it was barely recognizable as the vessel he had started with. Now it was part ship, part factory, building new fighters even as it fought. "They're adapting," Webb reported to Elena. "The enemy ships are targeting our construction platforms first now." Elena watched the tactical display with growing concern. The convergence was learning faster than she had hoped. They were no longer just destroying ships, they were specifically hunting down anything that could build more ships. "Switch to Plan B," Elena ordered. "Activate the emergency protocols." Plan B was humanity's most desperate strategy. Instead of trying to outbuild the convergence during battle, they would convert every ship in the fleet into a construction platform. The entire human fleet would become one massive factory, building new ships faster than any enemy could destroy them. The transformation was amazing to watch. 300,000 human ships suddenly stopped fighting and started building. Their hulls opened up like flowers, revealing construction bays that began producing new vessels at incredible speed. The convergent ships attacked the defenseless human fleet, but something unprecedented happened. For every ship they destroyed, 10 new ships rolled out of nearby construction bays. The human fleet began growing faster than the enemy could kill it, but Elena knew this couldn't last forever. The Convergence had 10 million ships, and they were still pouring into the solar system. Eventually, the enemy would overwhelm them through sheer numbers. "Dr. Chun," Elena called over the communication system. "Whatever you're going to do it now." On the edge of the galaxy, Dr. Chun made the final connection. The 12th ship linked to the other 11, and suddenly she could see the entire human fleet at once. Every ship, every construction platform, every weapon, all connected through the alien network. "Architect," she said, "show me how to use the ultimate weapons. Are you certain? Once activated, there is no going back. Your species will be forever changed." Dr. Chun looked at the reports coming from Earth. The Convergence was destroying human ships faster than they could be replaced now. Soon, the construction platforms would be overwhelmed. "Do it," she said. The change happened instantly. Every human ship connected to the network began transforming. Their hulls shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Their weapons became part of their bodies. Their construction bays merged with their engines. The ships were no longer just machines. They had become something alive, something that could think and adapt and grow on their own. Captain Webb felt the change happen to his ship. The Defiance's controls merged with his nervous system. He could feel every part of the ship as if it were his own body. He could think new weapons into existence and reshape his hull just by imagining it. "This is incredible," he reported. "The ship is part of me now." Across the human fleet, the same transformation was happening. 300,000 ships became 300,000 living weapons, each one able to adapt and change in real time. The Convergence had never faced anything like this. Their ships were designed to fight predictable enemies that followed logical patterns. But the transformed human fleet fought like a living organism, changing tactics and shapes constantly. Ships that had been destroyers became carriers. Carriers became battleships. Battleships became construction platforms and then became swarms of fighters. The human fleet flowed and changed like water, always adapting to counter whatever the Convergence threw at them. Dr. Chun activated the final protocol. The 12 alien ships merged their construction capabilities into one network that covered the entire solar system. Suddenly, the asteroid belt itself became a factory. The moons of Jupiter started producing ships. Even empty space began converting into solid matter that formed new vessels. The Convergence found themselves fighting not just a fleet, but an entire star system that had become a single, living weapon. The enemy's 10 million ships were impressive, but they couldn't adapt. They followed their programming and attacked in their predetermined patterns. But the human fleet learned from every exchange, growing stronger and smarter with each battle. After 3 days of fighting, something unprecedented happened. The Convergence began to retreat. "They're withdrawing," Captain Webb reported, hardly believing his own words. Elena watched the enemy fleet pull back from Earth. For the first time in galactic history, the Convergence had been defeated, but the victory came with a price. Humanity was no longer purely human. They had become something new, a species that could merge with their technology, that could think their ships into new shapes, that could turn entire star systems into weapons. "What are we now?" Elena asked Dr. Chun when the battle was over. Dr. Chun looked out at the transformed human fleet. Ships that moved like living creatures, weapons that adapted themselves, construction platforms that could build impossibilities. "We're what the Veilter hoped we could become," she said. "The species that finally stops the Convergence." As the enemy retreated toward the galaxy's edge, Elena began planning.